Hi, I'm Jesse Mangan.
I'm Rob Wypond, and this is Psych Force Report TV.
Psych Force Report.
So, over the past couple of months, there's been a lot of coverage of a facility proposed in Utah. This facility would include approximately 1,300 beds for people who appear to be unhoused, and within those 1,300 beds would be an accountability center for people suspected of having a substance use disorder, and about 300 beds for civil commitment. And this is being promoted as Utah's response to Trump's executive order on targeting unhoused people. And it raises so many concerns about who they're going to target for removal to this facility, what's going to happen in that facility, and who's going to pay for it.
Yeah, Jesse, when we look at this, the only word for it really is scary. Just the sprawl. It's way outside the city too. It's not going to be close to services. It's like something like a 20-minute walk to the nearest bus stop. Like this is all about hiding, removing people, and even looking at the news coverage that's been out there on this has actually been kind of good in the sense that I don't think anybody's been really hyping this like, hey, this is the greatest thing ever. There's been an appropriate sort of wariness, I think, in some of the coverage, and yet at the same time, uh, not really very critical, like not that recognition of, wow, we've been criticizing homeless people. We've been attacking this problem and attacking these people for so long. And now we're seeing the repercussions of this kind of attitude where suddenly a government's just going to step up and go, yeah, let's just round them all up, throw them out in the middle of the wilderness and build a giant encampment facility that's reminiscent of where they God, some of the worst kind of scenarios from history we could talk about where this place could what it could develop into. It's not looking pretty even now, let alone when it kind of kicks in. And Jesse, I just see this as so much a reflection of this attitude of sort of dislike for these people and then a desire to kind of hide it. And yeah, I want to return to that issue you raised. What do we know about who this is going to be, other than the fact that it's going to start with people who are unhoused? But is it everybody? What do we know or not know there?
I don't know much for certain, other than there's been a lot of rhetoric from officials about salvation of the people being targeted, which raises a lot of concerns. And just recently, there was a release saying that this is a quote, Governor Cox remains committed to ending the harm and prevalence of homelessness and addressing criminal activity associated with substance use and behavioral health. And I want to highlight that last part, addressing criminal activity associated with substance use and behavioral health. That could be pretty much anything.
Yeah, when we say anything too, we mean it could be trespassing, it could be disturbing the peace, because these are things that people are currently being arrested for in these cities where they have serious homelessness problems. And yeah, and what's going to happen to this facility? We know there are 300 civil commitment beds at the same facility. So you've got this place that's supposedly, we're here to help you provide resources, as one source raised. Like it looks like they want to turn it into a helpful hub for helping people get out of homelessness. And yet, right there in the same facility, if you misbehave in any way, are you going to get locked up in the civil commitment facility? Like what they're thinking and how this is actually going to work, it's really hard to picture. Do you have any sense of on a day-to-day level, have they thought this through at all?
I won't speculate on how much thought certain officials have given into it. I will say that when asked, no one would confirm that there wouldn't be work requirements at this facility. And I think broadly, you you can already say that there is a significant problem with facility response when you have multiple complicated diagnoses that are supposed to be treated. We live in this society where private facilities all of the time reject people because of complicated diagnostic history. If there's a dual diagnosis, if it's and not just substance use and or a mental health diagnosis, but a developmental disability, any sort of complicated cluster of diagnoses gets people flagged and kicked out of treatment. And so for a facility like this to suggest rounding up essentially anyone who appears to be unhoused and inconvenient and putting them all, regardless of underlying need or alleged need, into the same facility and thinking that there is going to be a smooth operation of that facility, it it doesn't match any precedent we've seen in this area. And I think it connects to the cost because the estimate from the state is reported to be that it would be $75 million up front to build the facility and then approximately 30 million per year to operate. And what else could the state do with that money that could actually help people stay out of facilities?
Well, exactly, because if you crunch those numbers, right, we just divide by 1,000 roughly. These are the numbers of people we're talking about. We're talking now about $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 per year per person. And you think, okay, that's cheaper than hospitalizing those people a year because that's $1,000 or $4,000 a day, somewhere in that range. And so it's cheaper than that, but it's definitely not cheaper than providing quality supportive housing for people. You can give a lot, not only the housing, but also voluntary supports of different kinds, and you can be providing some mental health supports if people actually want them at the same time for that kind of money. So it does seem like this is in some way born of this knee-jerk kind of bigoted attitude rather than a genuine desire to help anyone. Would you agree with that, Jesse?
I mean, yeah, I think it is. And I think if I carry the thought experiment that you just laid out about how much does it cost to keep someone in a psychiatric facility per day, costs vary by state, but it's anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000. So we're talking easily an average of 1,500 a day to keep someone in a psychiatric facility. If that is the cost for what is termed adequate care in psychiatric facilities, I'm not saying I agree with that, but that is the proposed sort of base cost for appropriate care. How could this facility adequately meet any of the proposed needs at approximately 30,000 per person per year? It's either that the facility isn't going to meet the basic needs that they're claiming, or that those inpatient facilities currently billing that much are billing way more than they need. And so you kind of have this situation where there's no way all of this is true. There's no way any of those uh, base claims of what they're trying to accomplish can actually be guaranteed. And so everyone should be concerned about where their money is going.
And this is going to be worse than jail in some ways, right? Because we don't even know at this point, they don't know if these people are actually going to be quote unquote in a building housed. The vast majority of the people may still be in a tent. There's just going to be this highly controlled and policed encampment out in the middle of nowhere. Uh,
It's something to keep an eye on, particularly if it becomes a new pathway to jail. Do they leave this facility and go to a jail and then cycle back onto the street and back to the facility? Is it just another cycle that people will get caught in? So everyone needs, I think, I would encourage everyone to pay attention to this. And if you're in Utah, talk to your legislators about your concerns and be public about it.
yeah, and let's hope this does not become a national model.
No.
Psych Force Report, 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 Psych Force Report. Psych Force Report, Psych Force Report.